Hello and welcome to Series 2 of the Figuring Things Out podcast. I'm your host, Will Brown. Thank you so much for listening. Our second series explores the process of recovery, in which we speak to 5 wonderful humans from various fields in order to uncover the truths and personal experiences behind injury, motivation, and mental health recovery. This podcast is a self-funded project. If you like what we do, please think about sharing it with your friends and even supporting us on our new Patreon. For now, on to today's guest. Good morning and welcome to the Figuring Things Out podcast. I have a wonderful person, a great friend of mine, Daniel Peters. He runs Daniel's Project. He's a movement coach. He runs winter camps, movement education via the movement teacher training in Germany, and he's an all-round wonderful human being. Daniel, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, Will, thanks for having me. And also hi to all the people out there listening. Such a privilege to just have like a small conversation about, our topic today.
It's so nice for me because I think when we first met, you were super young. We met via a good friend of ours, Johnny, and he was coaching in Hamburg, I believe. And you were this young guy that was doing calisthenics, kind of near the group, and we were doing some weird movement drills, whatever it was back in the day. And then you kept coming, guys, what are you doing? Maybe I can do a bit, maybe I can be involved. And gradually, you got more and more involved. And now you're hosting your own events and you're really in that place of sharing. And it's really lovely to see. What was it like for you back in the day, looking at the group? What spurred your curiosity, let's say?
First of all, yes, you were quite right. I was doing quite a lot of calisthenics, like bodyweight strength training. Young guy, I think I was 20 at that time. Like that was such a nice sport for me because I was playing football or soccer, if you call it in American English, for nearly my whole life. And then I met Johnny, like I think 2 months prior to that. I was seeing his Facebook page. It was like, it's called Freedom and Movement in Germany. In German, it's called Freiheit und Bewegung. And I saw that and I was like, oh, he was doing, I think he was doing a lot of locomotion in the squat. And I was like, what the heck? He's so mobile and he's still strong. And like the strength part, that was something I was very interested in. And then I sent him a message on Facebook, and till that day, I was the only person coming over social media. It's still a funny story. And I sent him a message. It was like, oh, I want to come and join your group training. And then I think we just did locomotion, like 1.5 hours. I was super sore the next day, the day afterwards. And then I think a couple of weeks later, you were visiting him in Hamburg and you were doing some, I still remember to this point, you had your green pants, your climbing pants. Like I think everybody had those back then. And you were hanging on the monkey bars and you were doing swings, but like swings with an active scapula. So the scapula was in depression. I was like, wow, these guys, they're hella strong. And that could be something for me. And so that's the story behind it, I guess.
Funny. And back then, were you still playing soccer, football? You were like semi-pro for a while, no?
What would you call like semi-pro? Like I was playing like 5 times a week until I was 19. So that was similar at the point I was finishing high school and I had a severe injury. Like I had an ACL tear, my outer ligament like broke down, left knee like completely fucked up, if I can say it that way on a podcast.
Sure.
That was like 1 day prior to my last exam in school. And that was like also the end of my like football career, but I was never like on that level to become really professional, but I would say it was serious competitive team with teammates also that were like really good, like pushing ourselves. That was a really nice experience. But then there came this injury of like, and ACL tear in your left knee is pretty much the message of like you cannot play football for the next 10 to 12 months. So that was the first knockdown, I would say. Yeah.
How was that for your last exam? Were you like lying down for the last exam? Or?
Honestly, it was on a Thursday evening. We had the football match, and on Monday it was mathematics last exam in high school, and I went there on crutches and pain pills. And they gave me, I think, 1 hour more than the other guys because it took me like 50 minutes to go to the toilet with my crutches. And yeah, that was not really good because my grade was also, yeah, shitty, but that was fine for the moment. And then there was the very difficult time for me because my girlfriend broke up with me. That was like my first big love in a way. I lost my football in a way because I had friends there. We were playing football for 4 to 5 times a week, and also school was over. So there were like 3 big pillars of my everyday life. They just went away. And then like how am I going to deal with that? That was the first very difficult part of my life, I would say.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's always interesting how there's a saying in English: you wait for a bus and 3 come along at once. You have a nice period of your life, and all of a sudden 3 or 4 things happen at once that are really negative and then seem to put us in a hole. And it's always an interesting process to then come away from this, which I think we'll get into later in the conversation. You studied, is it engineering?
Yes, after I finished high school, I studied process engineering for 4 years. I was there. There's a thing in Germany called duales Studium. That's like you can study at the university, and if you have like holidays, you will work for a company, and the company is like also paying me during my studies because I will work there during my free time. So it's like an education, also like an education program, because I get to know all the stuff that's going to happen in the company, and on the same time I'm going to study. So the process engineering studies were quite nice. I enjoyed it. I'm a little nerd, I would say, in that regard. But that was never something I was really, or like deep inside me, I was really pursuing. There was also some pressure, I would say, from society, from the parents, from, oh, you have to study engineering because you were quite good in school, and this is a safe job, safe money, good payment for sure. And I did that for 4 years. But at the same point, I met Johnny, and I quit my calisthenics. I went into movement. I was teaching a workshop here and there. I was training with friends, and everything on the other hand, like on the movement side, became a bit more serious. And I was like questioning myself, is this the right path at the moment? And then I met you, I met Jonathan, I met Neil, for example, and other guys who were like doing something else. And I was quite inspired by that. And then after I finished my studies, I worked for 1 year as a project engineer. And then during that 1 year, that was the first COVID year, I was like basically training the whole day and working. And that was everything I did at that time. And after that 1 year, I was like, okay, I'm going to quit this and start a new thing.
And so my memory of you back in the day was you would read like a book a week. You were so driven to read. You had this voracious appetite to read. Was that books related to your studies and your work, or was that anything?
I would say lots of philosophy. I was very much interested in philosophy because before that, in 2018, because this fits the story and also the topic of this podcast quite well, I went to Scotland, to Glasgow, to study like an Erasmus semester abroad. And I was for 1 year, I was working with Jonathan, but only doing strength training, like the body weight stuff, like the Ido Portal stuff, just bam, 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 bam. And had this picture of me in my mind. Okay, this is the Daniel I want to be. I want to be very strong. I want to be a good-looking guy, like aesthetically pleasing to others in a way. And then I went to Scotland, and I still pronounce it like Scotland, like the Scottish guys, I would say. And I got sick because the summer 2018 was amazing here in Hamburg. Then I went to Glasgow and was like 13 degrees and raining. I was like, oh, come on. And I got sick, and I still went to the training. I went to the gym every single day while being sick. And that cost me like nearly 7 months of like my life, I would say, also because I got seriously sick. I couldn't do anything. I cannot even go with a bike towards the university. My nervous system shut down like after like the smallest exertion or like the smallest stress stimuli in a way. And this completely changed my life. I was I didn't train for 7 months. I lost 12 to 15 kilos. Like my whole identity just got swept away in a way. But this was a huge turning process within my own work and also within my life. And I changed a lot of things. And I started with this, okay, I'm meditating every day. I'm taking cold showers, like more healthy options for my body. And I started to read more. I was always like, I like to read, but yeah, I was like reading quite a lot back then. So to like give myself some safety in a way. And yeah, then I think in 2020, I read like one book every 5 days, just like this.
Amazing. You have such a appetite. I want to be a bit more clear with what happened in Scotland. So you were training quite intensely to begin, and there was a lot of strength training, and let's say things that were causing a lot of fatigue in your body. And then you said you were also quite fatigued outside of your training. And so this combination, let's say, emptied your cup. You had no more resources. And then the continuation, you felt yourself getting sick and you continued to try and push. Was that what happened?
Yes, in a way, like the cup was already empty, but it was me looking in the mirror and like, okay, I haven't trained for the last 7 days, and I should go to the gym right now and to do something and like to continuously make progress over time, because this is the Daniel I want to be. And I couldn't accept the fact that it's not the right time. I have to take care of myself. I have to recover. And it took me like over 6 to 8 weeks of like recognizing this, like then also stopping the training, like, and changing other things in life, not going to the party in the evening, because just imagine you are going to a semester abroad. You're the only person there. You have like 0 friends. I went with a friend of mine from university in Hamburg who was like, that really like also saved my life in a way, because he was the only guy I could talk to. All the other guys, like if you are like in another country, like there, if you have a like semester abroad, you're just studying and doing your stuff, maybe traveling a bit, going for a hike, going for some partying. I couldn't do any of this. So that was like really self-isolating moments. I spent a lot of time at home for myself, just thinking, and also like being really sad in a way. Yeah.
Wow. Horrible. I think it's always really hard to self-motivate when you're in those states of almost like self-pity, or things are out of the control from the external world, and it's really a difficult time. Were you reading books that helped you at that point?
Yeah, I would say so, because I have this one perspective on books. When you are sick and you read a book on health, this will probably help you. But if you're healthy and you read a book on the same topic, it probably won't, because it's like, okay, I'm healthy. Why should I know this, or why should this help me? And so I was reading like Eckhart Tolle, Hermann Hesse, like all those philosophers on like some ancient philosophy, and also some stuff from the Buddhist traditions. And this helped me quite a bit, also with like seeing things from a different perspective. But that was like more of the case after I got back into a better state of myself. So within that moment, for me, it was not possible to get anything positive out of here. And a life change, or like a changing moment, was I think it was in January. Like 4 months after I got sick, I was back in Germany, and I started a water fast, to just like, because I was seeking help I was trying everything, meditation, cold showers, like going for a walk, but like everything. I was trying to go vegan and vegetarian and tried this and that. And then I did a 7-day water fast, and on a scale from 1 to 10, I was like on a 2 before, I would say. Like, it was bad, but not super, super, super bad, but it was really bad. And then this put me from a 2 to like a 4.5 or 5 after those 7 days. And I felt a lot better. I was like, wow, that's something. That's something I could do again. And I was underweight. So I was like 66 kilos or something. I'm 183 centimeters or 1.83 meters tall. And then after 2 months, I did another water fast, and I did 14 days of like not eating anything. And like after 10, 11 days, Johnny also spoke to me and Sarah and some other friends are like, Daniel, you need to eat something. But I was so caught up in my own thing. I was like, no. I need to continue this. I want to get healthy again. And this put me from a 5 to a 6, I would say, but had some more severe consequences afterwards because I fell into like a binge eating disorder for some weeks. But luckily my metabolism is super fast. So I could eat cake all day and not gain any weight. But that was also like a very, difficult experience, but it taught me quite a lot. Yes.
Yeah. It sounds like you were really grasping at anything possible to help yourself.
Yes.
Which is always, I think there's always a binary. When I was caught in a decline, let's say, it was quite evident to me that it was either I would do as much as possible or nothing at all. And
Same
actually, here. And actually what I found more recently, moving towards my 30s, I'm now 29, and going through these processes of decline, whether it's injury, lack of motivation, or mental health issues, is trying to find that line between chaos and order, or that balance point, that point of doing enough to help yourself, but actually not doing anything to help yourself as well. That art of doing nothing, that practice of doing nothing. And I think what seems clear to me is that back when you were really striving to help yourself, you did so much. You almost went past that threshold of usefulness and went back down the other side again, which is super interesting. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, for sure. Like spending a lot of time in one extreme and not having like, if you spend a lot of time in one extreme, like for example, also training quite a lot, like making progress, following your movement practice whatsoever, and also optimizing your life in a way towards this kind of thing. This like, you don't have a feeling for what is the other side. Where's the other? For sure, the other side is like doing nothing, like spending time on your couch every single day watching TV. But where's like the middle zone? You don't have like a feeling for what is like healthy for me, what feels good, what can I enjoy also, because if you spend all the time in this one extreme, you don't have like a feeling for anything in balance. But being in that zone, like of one extreme, you always think that you are in balance, and that's like in a big illusion.
This podcast is currently a self-funded project, so if you're enjoying the conversations and would like to get involved in supporting us, please feel free to buy us a coffee and support us via Patreon. You can also give us a follow and share this with your friends, as it really helps us grow. To see our coaching, courses, and event offers, please visit our website, www.figuringthingsout.com. For now, back to the podcast.
Also, I feel like when you focus so much on an injury and you're trying to focus on the recovery process of that injury, the more you've doubled down and focus on the injury, the less chance you have to actually forget about it and allow the body and life to kind of sort itself out. I've been caught up with this so many times, and I'm focusing on an issue and I'm like, okay, I'm going to fix this issue by working on the issue. And then you double down on the issue, and then you get so focused on the issue, all of your awareness is on the issue, which ironically then kind of doesn't help the issue, but actually allowing some sense of, okay, it's there. I'm going to find that balance point of giving enough toward this direction, and then trust the process thereafter, and flip between genuine effort towards the resolution and actually genuine effort to just have a wholesome life. And those outside parts of social support or rest, good sleep, being okay with imperfections in nutrition and diet, for example, and all of those things are so important to I think move forward in a way that's conducive to a good and happy and wholesome life, rather than the stay hard narrative. Double down and keep pushing through doesn't quite make sense to me. I think you've got some interesting ideas on philosophical standpoints. I always find myself getting stuck between stay hard, which is the dogged determination of David Goggins of, I'm just going to push no matter what. I'm going to set my alarm at 4:30 a.m. every day, even if I don't want to, which is every day. I don't want to get up at 4:30 a.m. every day. And then you have the other side of the coin, which is this maybe slightly spiritual, emotionally driven, listen to your emotions, do what feels right, quite soft and nurturing on the face of things energy. But there's almost an extreme towards both ends that we have to try and avoid. And I wonder what you have to say to that.
I would say first to the extreme of like waking up at 4:30 in the morning. I also did this not 4:30, but like at 5 and go to the gym in the morning. And I have my notebook with me here, and I was tracking my habits, like healthy habits in a way, like training, meditation, cold showers, reading a book, not eating sugar, going for a walk, making a compliment to a stranger, like all those things. I think I was like 10 to 12 at some point. And I did this for 1,000 days. And at one point I was like, my day is only successful, or like it's only a good day if I followed all those habits throughout one day. Like I had this idea of like, those are my pillars to like a successful day. And also those are my pillars to like having safety, like creating my own safety. But this is completely an illusion. Right now I'm like in a completely different state. I'm not tracking anymore. I'm living more like in the spiritual or like intuitive side of things. And my days are much better than back then. But I don't track my nutrition. I don't track my training in such a way. I don't meditate every day for 1 year now. Like it's a bit more loose in a way, but I have a much more stable relationship with myself through like therapy and some other things. With my work, with my teachings, how I perceive myself, how I perceive others. And this made me realize that for sure, this one part of me of like tracking everything and having like everything on an extreme was necessary to also see this. But for me right now, it's like my task is for now to find myself within those two points. And either of those points could be fine for one reason, but there's always like a negative side of things to a good thing, obviously. And this is the task for me now, but this is also an illusion. I cannot find balance. Balance is also, it's not there. But like constantly trying to figure out, and we're back to the topic of, or the name of the podcast, where am I right now? What person do I want to be? And what choices would help me with that? Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that continuing process is really the key. It's not about saying this point on the dichotomy is the exact point that we should be on. It's like, okay, somewhere along that barometer I should be at any one time. Should is the wrong word. Can be. And I'm going to flip between that as I need to, as life presents itself. And the ability to change and the ability to adapt is the key.
Yes, and also the ability to let go of old expectations and identifying oneself with something.
Yeah. Speaking of expectations, so you worked for a few years as an engineer.
Just 1 year. Yes.
1 year. And then you quit and you became a movement trainer, a movement teacher. Yeah. Did you have expectations for that first year?
For sure. Also, I would say not choosing the easy way. Like in a way, society expect me to like pursue my engineering career. Everything was like the path was already there. I just need to follow it. And then quitting, like, and then saying to your friends, first to yourself, I don't want to do this. Although the engineer path is safe, it has quite a lot of money. Like everything, would have no issues, but there's something in me that wants to do something else. First, like recognizing this and also accepting this, then communicating this to your friends. And all those questions, like also the same part with the family. And I would say the family is the biggest thing here. Like, why would you do that? We have like everything is set, everything is perfect. And then putting pressure on oneself, like, okay, if I pursue this career or this path as a movement coach, as something else, completely something else, I need to be successful. I need to have like at least make some money. For sure, you need to make some money, but like X amount of money, and you have to be this, you have to be that, you have to do that, you have to organize this, and so on and so forth. This for sure, I had a lot of expectations for myself. Yes, that's it. That's the answer to the question.
Did you try and define them going into that first year of going, okay, I've got this full-time job and now I'm moving from this quote unquote safety to
I would say
a world of chaos?
On a subconscious basis, but not like I never defined like any raw numbers, like Western culture numbers, okay, X amount of money and blah, blah, blah. But like I gave myself the time, and that's something I'm really grateful for. I gave myself the time of 3 years, like 3 to 4 years of like, it's the same as like studying something. If I start with it, I started 2 years ago in October. So I'm like nearly 2 years in now. So I gave myself the time of like pursuing this and I gave myself the time of 4 years, and there needs to be a positive development or evolvement of my teaching, my career. Because for sure you go to university, you study something, and only then you're ready to like go into the work, into the job market. And I set myself the same goal. Like I need to have at least like 3 to 4 years to be ready, or like to be the person I want to be in some way. And I think this was for sure a healthy mindset, and I still have this to the day.
I think it's a perfect one, a really beautiful one, actually. Something I respect very much in you is in anyone actually that can see life in longer periods of time and sustain an intention for a long period of time. I think it's really valuable, and it really shows that if you have too high of an expectation initially, you set yourself up for failure, because who you wish to be, who you would admire, is not who you could be now. It's who you could be in 2, 3, 4 years time, like you say, like through a process of intention and work and dedication. It's really, an empowering thing to think about, is to be like, okay, I'm going to set this vision, and then move forward through it. When you set this 4-year period, did you give yourself any defined metrics, or did you go, you know what, I just want to be proud of myself? And
Yes, the first metric is money. It's the same. I want to earn the same amount of money I would earn with a master's degree in engineering. So this is there's no sum of X of like this amount of sum, but like it's just a neighborhood or like a frame. But for now, like 2 years in, I see it from a completely different perspective. You cannot compare like both sides of the coin, like being an engineer, like working 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. And now I'm self-employed, and I can sit here on a Friday morning with you and like record a podcast. So, and then I can go outside. I don't have any appointments this afternoon, so I can go outside and do some stuff, or I can work. So I have the freedom to choose, for sure. But for sure, there are like also like downsides of the coin of being self-employed. You have like financial insecurity. You have to, everything is like, it's a hustle for sure. I don't have a boss. I don't have like real colleagues. We are colleagues for sure, but I don't have a team sitting with me here in my living room. I don't have a boss who's saying like, Daniel, you need to go to this workshop and I'm going to pay you for this. This is important for your further career in a way. This is always me. It's always like me, or exchanging with other people, like with you or friends of mine, like, oh, this could help me. This could help my career. This could help me as a person, or like this kind of thing. So yeah. So first there was this defining some sum of money or like a neighborhood, but that was like 2 years ago, and I don't think that's true anymore.
I think it's quite important to set some kind of definition of success for yourself, because if you just give yourself a success goal, what does it mean? And sometimes I think we have poor comparisons. I remember Jordan Peterson giving an example of a client he had once, and this client was a really successful tech guy, incredibly successful, but he was really depressed because he wasn't as successful as his college roommate. And his college roommate was Elon Musk. It's like, if you compare yourself to the most successful person ever in the history of humanity, of course, you're never going to live up to that standard. So I think it's really important to set realistic and genuinely individual metrics for success, just so when you do look back, you can give yourself some positive feedback or relative feedback, I'd say.
Yes, and also not seeing those as like fixed metrics, because over the time frame of those 4 years, for sure, I will change as a person. Life will change. There will be a pandemic hitting the world, something like this. You have to change something. And also sometimes you want to change something or you find something out. Maybe that's also fine. After 3 years, I will find out, oh no, being a movement coach, that's not the thing I want to really do. I want to do something else. And that's totally fine. So don't stick to that metric so hard.
Yeah, that's a great point. I love that point so much. Something that I get stuck on so much is not holding the soap too strongly, and risking it slip, holding just enough. Let's go to your work right now. So you have kind of 2 or 3 main categories of work. You have these camps that you share. You have a winter camp and a general movement camp. And then you also have the movement teacher training. And also you're doing some in-person one-to-one type work. Let's go first to the camps. What are you doing here?
The last 2 years, not this year because there were so many other things going on. I was hosting summer camps. Usually they are inspired by Jonathan's student intensive. There's this frame of not having a smartphone for 5-6 days and not having access to time. So you wake up in the morning and you don't know. You can see the sun for sure in the summer and have like a rough idea of how late is it. And I just want those camps to be like something, or like for the general population, they're like open for the public, like to just like see life from a different perspective, like living in a bubble, having no responsibilities, just waking up in the morning. Maybe I'm going to wake you up, not knowing what's going to happen throughout the day, and just letting go a bit. And we're going to eat for sure. We're going to have food. You're going to sleep, but we're doing like movement and meditation, and we're like having it almost feels like a more natural human experience, because like for sure we live in communities. We live in shared housings and stuff. But for me, like being really like in the communities, like doing something together, not having the smartphone laying on the left-hand side and, oh, there's someone wrote me a message on WhatsApp, like working in projects together, like cooking together, like having dinner together, pursuing some other things together, like moving together and also experiencing and sharing. This is something that I really want to, foster in that way. So I use those summer camps in summer for sure, because the weather's nice, spending time outside camping. And in winter, I've been ice bathing for like 5 years now, regularly, taking cold showers. Oh, sorry, that was the doorbell. Taking cold showers and stuff. And I went to Wim Hof travel in Poland, and I have different experiences with this kind of thing, but I wanted to do my own thing in a way, like not being super, not holding onto a dogma or something. Just like ice bathing is for everyone. There's like a physical perspective onto it. There's a mental perspective, also like a spiritual thing. And yeah, like providing those opportunities to rest and also to experience for the general population. Yeah.
It's lovely. Yeah, I really have also taken great inspiration from Johnny's summer camps, and have also taken let's say the bubble idea of getting the people together in this enclosed bubble and having no clocks on the walls and no watches, no technology, no phones, no access to the outside world. I think it's such a lovely way to really engage with people truthfully and genuinely. And it opens up this interesting space of vulnerability as well. Something that you can't really do in a class environment or in an online environment. It really has to be a significant period of time. And I really do think that everyone should do that at least once per year. Really dive into a group setting, be physical, be vulnerable, talk about interesting topics, make fire, whatever. I really think there's so much value there. And I love the work that you do there. I think it's such a great one.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
So let's go to the movement teacher training. This is almost the flip side. The side where you offer people like us, I guess, younger versions of ourselves, an opportunity to engage have some sense of a colleague and a mentor and a framework or a hierarchy, and really learn what it is or it could be to be a movement trainer, a movement teacher. Can you explain a bit more about the idea?
Yeah, sure. So the one thing we've noticed over the last couple of years is that the movement world, movement scene, whatever you want to call it, is like, it's getting more professional. It's like yoga or CrossFit, but like a bit younger still. But things are becoming more professional, and we're reaching more people. We can define our ideas a bit better, although we don't need to define everything. And there's a huge need for more playfulness, different ideas, like also like in a gym. I teach workshops in gyms, like handstand workshops. Everybody knows what's going to happen, but like as soon as there's another word, like, okay, movement workshop, what's going to happen here? But people are like always like reflecting like super positive feedback. They're like, oh, that's so cool. I want to do more of this. So Johnny has his offering is online coaching for like 8-9 years now, and I'm also, we're always joking about this. I'm a product of his online coaching, although I'm a human.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this idea of like, in a way, supporting people in their own way of becoming a movement teacher. And there's no right way of becoming a movement teacher. You don't have to teach handstands and bodyweight strength training, and each of us has his own individual ideas, backgrounds, and experiences, and we want to like foster that and develop that. So we want to like provide an idea of what can a movement practice be for sure. There will be like general capacity work, and there are some ideas for sure behind it. And from there also like fostering how do I teach a workshop compared to how do I teach a group class or like a personal training? What is even my way of teaching? Am I like 55 years old? I'm a woman. I work with kids, and maybe I want to teach something to them. Or like I'm a 25-year-old man from Germany who just wants to train like calisthenics classes, but with like a different kind of focus in a way. So there are many, many different ideas, and we just want to support people in finding their own way throughout our education program, and also like building something from that, because usually there are so many educational resources about how to program training, how to program like a movement practice, mesocycles, macrocycles, microcycles, stuff like that. But there are not a lot of resources on like, okay, how do I even write an invoice? How do I can I exchange with colleagues? What are your experiences with how much do you charge for a group class? And how am I even like find arguments for a higher price, a lower price, whatsoever? And how do I build a website? Do you have any good website providers? Like a supporting system for all of those things that are not very much visible at the first glance, like, because at first there's the movement practice, there's training, there's doing something, but there's so much more to like creating something out of this. And this is something that I realized going from like engineering to self-employment in a completely different way. I love movement. I love to train. I love to teach. I love to work with people, and I love to empower them to like do their own things and follow their dreams. But like, there's so much more, and nobody's talking about this. And this is a huge issue, not an issue, but there's something that we need to work on and to make this a bit more professional. And yeah, that's the goal behind it.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's just a great idea. It's something I've been doing for about 3 years now in a slightly different way with my online coaching group. The guys that have been with me for a number of years now, they are also looking, if they're teaching themselves, for a support network, like you say, something where they can engage with other people walking that path that's maybe a bit off to the side of the fitness culture, and encompassing all of these chaotic and interesting but quite sporadic areas of practice. Like you said, cold immersion and breath work. There might be also some yogic practice, but also some capoeira, some dance, and then some basic strength and mobility. And all of these facets come together. But then how do you describe that? How do you put that forward to and sell it to someone? How do you share that in a way that's supporting someone? How do I, like you say, have a business from that? And so what I do is this kind of like monthly mentorship calling where we discuss every single month, and we offer these guys a network of support and a place where they can really ask questions and think about philosophical questions. Should I be teaching this way? Do I want to teach this way? Is my persona geared up towards teaching in this way? And I think these are really powerful and empowering topics that self-employed people are not supported with. So I think it's an amazing project, and I'd love to hear more next time I see you. One thing I read on your website is empowering you to live a more meaningful life, which is a lovely quote. I think it's something that is evident in the what you offer. I'd love to move a bit more towards meaning and how you support people find meaning and seek meaning for themselves. Do you have a given process or something that you do?
So there's I spend a lot of time researching, watching YouTube videos, reading books about what is meaning. And one thing that stuck with me is engaging in projects of worth in a way that are larger than you are, not physically larger, but larger in a metaphorical or meter level scale. And one thing for me was that was a huge process within myself. After I finished my studies, I was okay, movement is in a philosophical way, or what I will do afterwards, going into self-employment. This is my meaning. I found the sailboat metaphor. You also know this from Scott Barry Kaufman. I really enjoy this one. And that for me, teaching was always I also did it in a very philosophical way, and there was always a bigger thing behind it. But this also changed throughout the last years. And within the last year, for me, the meaning was very, very much zero. And for me, sometimes movement was just an object. It was just training at some point, and now it changes again. And this is also an important process to consider. If you found meaning in something, this will obviously vanish maybe, and it will come back stronger with from a different side. And for me, just from a personal story, I went into therapy last year, starting summer, because of some family issues and suicide in my family, and some issues with myself, all those habit tracking, trying to build an illusion of safety. And throughout this process, I found out that my meaning back then was just an illusion, and just realizing that something you really hold on to, it's not there anymore. This was a very difficult process for me. But I try to, if I work with people, first of all, I'm what are you really enjoying? And what is your intuition saying to you? And because the enjoyment is something that we often forget in our culture, because we are very much prone to, you have to be successful, you have to produce results, you have to produce your results in the next 4 weeks. And it's most of the time, there's not enough time for giving yourself the time of doing something and creating something, and the results will come for sure, but it will take time. And it's fine if it's not coming now. It's fine if it's not coming in the next year. It's fine if it comes in the next 5 or 25 years. So this is something that we need to foster or support a bit more, not seeing, finding meaning or doing X, Y, Z in the next year or in the next 2 years. Give yourself some time, and it's totally okay to take time.
Yeah, again, I think it comes back to that point of things being variable and adaptable, or malleable, you could say. How was the process of therapy for you?
So we spoke about the Scotland sickness story. So my parents divorced at that time. So that was also something that came up at that time. We have a case of suicide in my family. That's a really personal thing, but I want to also communicate this, because it's usually a taboo. No one is speaking about this in our culture. And it was a person that was very close to me, was my grandma. And there were some more things within the family, and also within the process of changing myself from being an engineer to doing something on the other side, completely different thing. And my own training and how I lived my life for the last 4 years, the first 3 years were super strict. I was living this monk life of like, I was doing my habit tracking, I was doing the training, I was not going to any parties, to some parties here and there, but like I had this very strict schedule. And what I didn't notice was that I was trying to build a safety net for myself. Like I can control all those variables. If I go to the training, it's all up on me. If I do the training, I do the training. If I do it good, I do it good. If I go there or like to a party or somewhere else, that's like, it's insecurity there. Something could happen I don't have under my control. And over the last years, and also last year, the financial situation with my self-employment got a lot better. So things were coming up that were like suppressed before. And I've found myself in phases of depression. I had this, for example, 6 to 8 weeks of training, doing something, working, because I had expectation I need to fulfill. And then I fell down into the other extreme. Like I was lying in bed for 2 weeks, not being able to do anything, not even to write an email or like go outside. And those two extremes were like coming again, because after those 2 weeks of not doing anything, I said to myself, okay, Daniel, you need to start doing something again, like work. And I did this. And yeah, this became a more frequent thing. And within the therapy for myself, I found out that the training didn't have that much meaning for me at that point. Like last year, October, that was like a turning point for me at a lumbago, like in the lower back. I got injured, and then I found like all those crises, they're huge. I think also Tina said this on the podcast. They're like a huge spark for something bigger, for like a bigger fire in a positive way. And then I had this issue with myself of being vulnerable to other persons, like in relationships, in social situations, but also as a movement coach or a movement teacher, because people see you on Instagram doing something, but that's not the truth. That's not the reality. We all know this for sure, but you're always caught up in your own thought process. And then I went to a workshop in Barcelona. I was invited to teach there for 2 days, April this year. And I wasn't training for 3 weeks prior to that because I had like a depression phase. I had a huge issues with my right ankle because I was playing football with some friends and was like, bruises everywhere. I couldn't really walk on the right foot. And in my mind, I was like, okay, Daniel, you are going to Barcelona to teach a workshop there. People have this picture of you over Instagram and they expect something. But I cannot really move, and I'm not the person who is going there. Like, this is the Daniel that they see, and like 100,000 meters away, this is the Daniel that I am right now. So I came to the workshop, and Sarah, you also know her, she said to me, Daniel, just be yourself. And then I went to the workshop and we did a little introduction round, and I said, like, I have a very difficult phase in my life right now. And that was for me a turning point, and also a very nice turning point. I said, I have issues. My right ankle hurts like shit. I cannot do anything on the right side, but I just want you to be yourself and don't see this as a competitive workshop. Just be yourself. If you don't feel comfortable right now, just sit aside, be quiet, and just observe, like fostering this environment or creating this environment of not being perfect, of just come as you are in a way. And I received so much positive feedback afterwards. Like people were like writing me on Instagram, oh, Daniel, I just enjoyed this atmosphere of this. I just came there. I had a shitty week and I just wanted to move. I don't have to be perfect. My cartwheels were shit. No one cares at all. Just do the thing. And from that point, I just found out for myself that also we as teachers, we have to be more vulnerable, and also as humans in a general way. I have issues as well. Like I have physical issues, I have issues with myself, I have issues with my work, and that's totally fine. I just want to be like a role model. I want to foster this also in other people. And from that point on, a lot of things got a lot smoother, and I felt more authentic and also more real in my teaching and my work. Yeah.
Really lovely, mate. I think you definitely supported me through that as well when you came to visit in Brighton. And it was a similar, period. I'd had a back injury and some family near deaths, let's say. And it was a dark time for me, and you came and visited for a few weeks, and it was such a lovely time because you were able to foster that space for me, just being yourself, which again is a really lovely quality you have. I was going through the phase of reading a lot of books on psychotherapy and Irvin Yalom's work, which I was obsessing over. And then I found this book after you left, actually, called Lost Connection. And it's a really lovely one because it talks about connection to different things, one of them being people. And I think it's a really great book to kind of put into perspective how depression and mental health is medicated from the perspective of someone that's been medicated for years and years and years, the author this is. And actually how he came through this process of recovering from the negative effects of the medications, and how actually he supported himself through darker times with connections to certain things, like good people that really cared. And I think that's a great quality that you have. And it's nice that you found that in yourself now as well. Yeah, really.
Yes, thanks, man. Appreciate it. That was a good time at Brighton back then. Yeah.
Yes, very much so. So let's move to the future from the past. Let's say, do you have any visions for yourself moving forward?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, because as I said before, like from October last year, where the lumbago to up until like July, like 1 month ago, 1.5 months ago, like I wasn't training a lot. I wasn't doing a lot. I was not this perfect movement coach, teacher, like training 5 times a week, maybe just once or twice, and not doing a real training. And I found myself in the slump, and also like in the slump of like the meaning is missing at the moment. But then I went to a dance festival, dance intensive in Portugal 1 month ago for 2 weeks of dancing. And I always had this feeling, or this intrinsic, intuitive thing in myself. Okay, I want to dance more at some point, but I'm 27 right now. I studied engineering. I don't have a dance background at all. I just did all of that through my movement practice, through Johnny's programming. And that was really nice because I just got exposed to my intuition in a way. It was so much fun, and people said to me like, "Oh, for which dance company are you working?" I was like, "Oh no, I'm not a dancer at all, but I take the compliment. Thank you very much." I was like, "Whoa, that's so cool," and I was never confident enough to like apply for an audition or like a dance school, because I was like, "Oh no, I'm not good enough for this," and people were reflecting the opposite to me, and that was really, really. I'm really grateful for that. And right now I have this new, like I came back from Jonathan's student intensive last week, and I have this new spark in me that was missing for maybe the last year, 1.5, 2 years, to like pursue or like change my movement practice in the direction of dancing more, like more soft acrobatics, more flow work. Also taking a few ballet classes here and there, doing more improvisations and stuff. And like having a new direction, this really like right now fills me up with joy and excitement. And that's something I was really missing in the last year. And I'm really happy about this. And I don't know, that's a vision for now, like doing this a bit more in a professional way. But I don't know how exactly, but I will see. Yeah. Awesome. And I want to connect this also with the movement practice, with the teaching, because that's something I saw the dance intensive. There are some. We as a movement community, and also as teachers and people, we have lots of amazing ideas and concepts and perspective on the physical body, on training, on how to approach something that other communities can benefit from. And we need to share these things more with other people, not being super hesitant about, oh no, these are my ideas, I take them just for myself, I'm not going to share those. And this was also an eye-opening experience for me once again. Yeah. So this is the vision for me as a person, for me as a businessman, as a movement coach. There's just like making the movement teacher training program even more professional, like reaching out to more people, like supporting more people in the journey, and also like just enjoying the work more. That's like, because we are so caught up sometimes in our daily, I have classes here and then a personal training here and there and here and there. Instagram, I have to edit a video, just like, just flow a bit more with the time, and just be there.
Really nice. I think this is a really nice perspective that shows the differences maybe between fitness culture in general and movement culture in general, is that empowering perspectives, or perspectives that look at seeking joy and um, following interest is a really important one. Maybe following fears or following parts of us that could be inspired, but we're afraid. It's a really lovely perspective to have and a very empowering perspective to have. And I think this is one of the joys from the movement perspective that is potentially there. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with the dance. So I think it was maybe this time last year, or maybe a bit later, you kind of went viral. You posted some, should we call it toga?
Yeah, toga. Yeah.
How was that?
That was so last year at like 13, 14 months ago, like June last year, I was like, okay, maybe I want to pursue like social media a bit more in a professional way. I'm a math nerd, so I track like everything still. I'm very much interested in that. And I was like, it will help me for sure as a movement coach. And I just want to test it. So I was like, I had lots of ideas. I'm so inspired by all the work from Jonathan, and he has like lots of ideas, and I have access to his huge online YouTube library. And I took some ideas from there and I created like 30, 40 videos and I edited them, and it was a lot of fun. And I posted them on social media and I was like optimizing everything. Like I was tracking numbers and stuff like that. It was super interesting for me just to like check, because the algorithm was basically doing the same. And then it was like in December last year, I had like 15,000 followers, 15,000 followers. And that was like one of my best friends. He asked me like, oh, Daniel, do you think you're going to hit the 15,000 follower mark by the end of the year? And it was like just 14 days left. I was like, no, I'm just going to post one more video and I'm going to Spain to see my sister over Christmas. And I posted a video and I locked myself off of social media, like left my phone aside, and I went to Spain. I just took the phone with me. And it was like I think the 26th of December was so funny. We went to the park in Valencia and then we came back and I was just checking my emails, and I usually don't do that during vacation. And I was seeing like 150 emails in my inbox. I was like, no, what the heck is going on? I need to check this. And I posted a video about exercises for the feet, because that was something that really like came more and more to my attention, because the feet are very much important in the movement practice. They're basically the roots of everything we do, despite like hand balancing. And I was advertising an online program in my online store, and like people were saying like, well, why is your website in English and your online store is still in German? I was like, no. I was like so afraid because I missed so many sales. And well, from a business perspective, I said to my sister, give me a laptop. I need to rework I need to translate my website. She was like, Daniel, no, you're on vacation right now. Don't do that. I was like, give me your laptop right now. And I was like translating my online store, and like the video went viral, and I hit the 100,000 follower mark by January 4th, like 14 days later, which was kind of insane. It was nice for sure. It was dopamine hits everywhere, but like from now, like seeing it from a different perspective, it's nice. That's how Instagram is built, but there's a community right now, yes, but like there's a small community. It's like, it's also pure luck in a way. And then I tried to reproduce the receipt from the viral video on another one, and it worked the same way. And I got like another 50,000 followers and some here and there. And that was nice, but it also put a lot of pressure on me. And I also shared this in another video to like produce more and more and more and more. And I just wanted to test it out. That was the whole intention behind it, not like doing this on a serious basis. I got like requests from lots of companies. Do you want to do this? Do we want to advertise this and that? And for sure, I could work, or like I could make an income out of Instagram. But for now, I make like €0 per month, and I don't care at all, because I don't want to be like that person who's like promoting shitty stuff, another t-shirt brand or another fitness tool that you need. And it put a lot of pressure on me to like pursue like doing more and more and more. And we are still then caught up in this vicious cycle of doing more and growing and growing and growing. And there's also this is a flaw of the human character, that we always want to like progress and not just maintain or just like decline a bit. That's fine. Yeah, it was an amazing experience. And what I really also enjoyed was like the feedback was 99.9% was super positive. And that was something that really stuck with me because I got a lot of positive DMs, comments, emails. Oh, you helped me so much. And that was something that was really heartwarming and barely any hate comments. So at that point I knew, okay, that's maybe we should really still focus on like good quality content. And I try to like, still do that to the day, but not as much as last year with a more health or like I'm taking more care of myself. Yes.
Yeah. It's obviously that you've got good feet then. You have good, pretty feet.
And I also got a lot of foot fetishes on my following, but yeah, what can you do?
What can you do? You got to keep going forwards.
Yeah.
I'd love to round down the conversation with some quick fire questions and just kind of get a bit more from you. And then we'll hear more about where we can find you. So first of all, do you prefer more the mountains or more the sea?
The sea, because I grew up at the seaside.
And what about winter camp or summer camp?
To be honest, winter camp.
Oof. Leg training or upper body training?
Oh, right now, leg training, man.
Really? Yeah, the feet, of course.
The feeling afterwards is insane.
Stretching or shaking?
Shaking.
What is your favorite book?
The Tattooist of Auschwitz. I gifted it to you as a present after I left Brighton, and I can recommend this book to everyone out there.
Yeah,
that's an amazing book.
It's sensational. It really is. Yeah, The Tattooist of Auschwitz. True story, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's your favorite song right now?
Still Esmeralda by Ben Howard.
Great. What are you afraid of?
Ooh, quick fire questions. Not being enough.
What makes you happy?
Sunshine in the morning.
Very good. Daniel Peters, Mr. Daniel's Project. Thank you so much for joining today, buddy. We could have had a 5-hour conversation, and I'm sure we'll have many more to come.
Hopefully, yeah.
Ich hug dich lieb. And thank you so much, buddy. I appreciate it so much.
And there we have it, yet another episode in the bag. I am currently laying under a blanket trying to get the best sound I can possibly get for you, so please consider listening on. If you didn't know already, we have a Patreon. Join now for the price of a coffee and gain creative insights, bonus content, interviews, and the chance to ask questions to our upcoming guests. If you're new here, here's a little bit more about the concept of our podcast. Have you ever heard of the metaphor of the 5 blind folk and the elephant? It's the inspiration and idea that drives this podcast, and it goes something like this. There are 5 blind folk walking through the jungle. They stumble upon an obstacle. The first one steps forward, touches its leg, and goes, it feels like a giant tree. The next one steps up, feels the trunk, and goes, no, I think it's a giant snake. They each have a turn, trying to feel what the hell this obstacle is. And it's only when they put all 5 together, they understand that it's actually an elephant in their way. These differing perspectives and then this overarching clarity is the inspiration that we love and feel is important to get through with this podcast. In this way, the blind folk are our guests, each with their own perspectives and ideas. The elephant is our series topic that we explore from these perspectives to gain a greater insight. If this is your first episode, why not check out the others in this series to gain a greater understanding of this topic? Or check out the previous series where we explored the concept of movement culture and training. As always, it really helps us if you like and share this with your friends and family. We're a self-funded project, just trying to open up interesting conversations with interesting individuals for you guys to listen to. Thank you, and keep figuring things out.